Hello, everyone. I'm James Milan. Glad that you can join us for this town hall update. I am speaking with our town manager, Adam Chapdelaine. Welcome, Adam.
Thank you, James. Good to see you.
You too, always. Hey, a few items of note this week. First of all, since we spoke last, short-term safety improvements have been implemented at the Mass Ave and Appleton Place intersection. There's some news to share about children 5 to 11 newly eligible for the vaccine, and then there's the select board endorsing the ARPA framework. So let's get to that. You've spoken about Arlington's, or we've spoken together about Arlington's ARPA framework uh, since August. And I know that you have been hard at it for this whole time. That framework, of course, just to remind people, is the town's plan to spend the approximately 35 million bucks in federal funding under the American Rescue Plan Act, or ARPA. So please briefly tell us, what does the endorsement of the select board mean, and what are the next steps now?
Absolutely. So, like you said, we've been at this since August. I think we've had a really robust dialogue with both the public and the select board that hopefully is resulting in a plan and framework that's responsive to community needs. But ultimately, with the select board's vote, two main things happened. One, they endorsed one set of items within the framework for us to begin immediately implementing and putting the money on the streets, so to speak. And then in a second pot, they've endorsed allocation amounts within other categories, thereby giving us the go ahead to start planning more intensively about how to exactly spend those dollars, with the understanding we'd come back to the board for further endorsement of those specific plans. So, just to give a few examples, in the endorsed ready to implement category, we included in there is tenant assistance for those who might be struggling to meet their monthly payments for either homeowners or renters, and small business assistance, premium pay for town and school employees, behavioral health, helping out the AYCC, as well as supporting our ongoing public health efforts. So those and a few other categories, we're ready to hit the road. On the section that needs more planning, but we're very happy to have support of the allocations, we have premium pay for private sector workers, low-income private sector workers who put themselves in harm's way working over the course of the pandemic. We have monies dedicated to affordable housing, food security, playground improvements, HVAC improvements across town, homelessness, trying to meet our homelessness challenges in town. And we'll be hard at work trying to formulate plans around those investments and bring them back to the board, hopefully very soon, likely not next Monday, but very soon thereafter, to begin getting that money on the streets. So very appreciative of the board's engagement in this dialogue over the past several board meetings, over the past several months, and excited to get this money into the stream, benefiting the people who need it most.
Yeah, so again, it sounds very familiar. You've covered this ground before between the short-term expenditures that you want to get going right away, and then the things that are going to take longer to develop. But great that the board has given its imprimatur, which is what you were waiting for in order to be
Yep.
able to take action, right?
Right, correct.
All right. Moving on, I mentioned that children 5 to 11, as I think everybody's familiar with at this point, are now eligible for the vaccine. And I assume that Arlington has a plan to provide vaccination clinics or some way to get the shots into the kids' arms. So can you tell us about that?
Absolutely. So I know many people, especially people with children ages 5 to 11, have been watching this closely. So those folks watching it closely know the FDA and the CDC approved the Pfizer vaccine for that age range on Tuesday evening, which then set into motion that vaccine rapidly becoming available through a number of channels. It's available at pharmacies, primary care physician offices, but local governments, cities, and towns also have been given some allocation. So Arlington received 1,200 doses, had scheduled a vaccine clinic for this Saturday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. As soon as that link was shared with the school department, which they then shared, those 1,200 appointments were taken up. We expect that we might be able to get an additional 900 doses, which would enable us to offer additional vaccine clinics probably sometime mid next week. And my understanding of the whole idea is there are plenty of doses to go around to make this work, and getting them to local government was to take the pressure off the pharmacies and the primary care physicians so that between those three main sources, hopefully we'll be able to get all the kids in that age range vaccinated that want to be vaccinated. So we're excited about this. Continue to be very lucky to have Christine Bargiorno and Natasha Waden at the helm over in our public health shop, putting this together very quickly and running it efficiently and effectively. So I think it's an exciting time. It's a scary time, but it's an exciting time to get this pretty significant population vaccinated, and hopefully then a few weeks out or months, maybe a month and a half out, start to see reductions in the trends of transmission based on this population starting to become vaccinated.
Sounds good. And just out of curiosity, and again, not expecting you to be, have your a firm grasp of all of these numbers. You had mentioned 1,200, and those those reservations have already been made, and then possibly another 900. That's just a little over 2,000. What percentage of the eligible population in Arlington, as far as you understand it, would be covered by that, 2,100 doses?
So my understanding is there's about 3,500 kids who are within that age range. So this would be about 2,100 doses. So it goes a pretty long way to get at that number. So I don't know exactly how many doses pharmacies or primary care offices have received, but I'm stretching here a little, but it does feel like getting 2,100 doses into the mix via the local government combined with other sources probably is going to go a long way to meet that need.
Yeah, sounds like it. Okay, Adam. Thanks for that. Since we spoke last time, and I have to, I just will remind folks that last time you gave a pretty comprehensive explanation of the situation at Mass Ave and Appleton Place, and the balancing of the various compelling interests that you have been doing around that intersection. So since that time, the DPW has implemented the short-term safety changes that you were talking about, and I've noticed new markings at the intersection. So what should travelers in the area expect? What exactly has changed at this point?
So the compromise bike striping plan that the select board approved just, I think, 2 weeks ago now has been fully striped on the ground. There are a couple additional things that will happen as months go on that take a longer lead time to plan and install. But the main striping, and I believe the bollards, are on the ground. What you'll experience if you're driving eastbound is you will see a striped bike lane on Mass Ave through the intersection with Mass Ave, Appleton Place, and Appleton Street. If you're driving westbound, you'll see that through the majority of that intersection, there's what's called a shared lane with sharrows, arrows that delineate that you're sharing the road with a bicycle, that then continue up to a bike lane, continuing westbound into the Heights. Really, and additionally, I would say there is a striped curb extension coming out from the triangle where Appleton Street and Appleton Place meet to be able to better control vehicle movements. And then finally, in the middle of the road on Mass Ave, there are bollards in place that make the left turn from Mass Ave onto Appleton Street more of a sharp turn as opposed to bearing left, as what that was the condition before these improvements were put in place. So I think the main thing I would say is our goal here is to increase safety and to try to get motorists and all users to utilize that area as safely as possible. So I would encourage motorists to drive very carefully through that area, acclimate themselves to the new striping. You'll have to go through a little slower than you went through before. And that's the goal, to be able to create a safe environment for all users. So there are plans available online that folks can look at. Some great photographs that Joan Roman, the town's public information officer, took yesterday with her drone capturing an aerial view that really gives you a good sense of the layout of what's been put in place. So I think in summation, I would say, really encourage people as they're driving through there, go slowly, acclimate yourself to the changes, and help us meet our goals of enhancing safety.
Amen. And I got to say, we always learn new stuff from you in each of these updates, but I've also had my vocabulary expanded with bollards last time, and again, you're referencing them this time, but also something I'd never heard before, sharrows, huh?
Sharrows.
Okay. Excellent. Hey, is there anything that we have missed so far before we let you go?
So I'd love to add that we're really excited that next week on Veterans Day, under the guidance of our Veteran Service Officer, Jeff Chunglo, we're going to be able to hold an in-person celebration of Veterans Day,
Wonderful.
which obviously, along with many things that we weren't able to do in person, that one in particular was hard last year to not be able to celebrate in person. We're going to do it again this year. We're going to do it in a safe manner. And we really encourage anybody and everybody who's available to come out and experience that cemetery and pay tribute to those who have served this country so honorably.
Great. All right. Well, thank you very much for your time, Adam. We appreciate it as always. This is the Town Hall Update. I've been speaking with our town manager, Adam Chapdelaine. I'm James Milan. Appreciate Adam's time as always, and we appreciate yours as well. Thanks for joining us. See you next time.